our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to shed light on the National Alliance for Civil Development Work Conference, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed the importance of the role of all the association and entities working in the framework of the charitable work that provide assistance in areas that the government alone cannot fulfill, praising the great and well-coordinated role of the NACDW. During the conference, President Sisi listened to the different examples for small farmers project that was funded by the Plant Initiative in different governorates as he praised their effort and thanked them. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassem Radi said the alliance plays a pivotal role in the state's development process and supports social protection network mechanisms. More details in the following story.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi thanked on Monday workers at the National Alliance for Civil Development Work Conference, along with all civil organizations in Egypt. During attending the conference, al-Sisi expressed his happiness with the examples that was presented for small projects in different governorates. In his statements, al-Sisi urged Egyptians to listen to the government regarding all data and information, especially economically. He explained that the current circumstances, including COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukrainian war, is out of our hands and affects the whole world, not just Egypt. During the conference, al-Sisi listened to 5 different examples for individual small projects that was funded by the conference in different governorates, including small farmers projects that was funded by the Plant Initiative. al-Sisi praised the small farmers and their different projects, adding that the government is ready to cooperate with the alliance in the agriculture sector more. al-Sisi called on farmers not to underestimate the value of one fadan as a small farmer's capital, because in total they can produce a large amount that serves the country, especially in sugarcane and soybeans. For his part, presidential spokesperson Bassem Radi said the alliance plays a pivotal role in the state's development process and supports social protection network mechanism. The alliance is integrating its work with the efforts being exerted by the state and the private sector to realize social development and upgrade services. The alliance was launched in March 2022 with the participation of members of key development and civil work associations in Egypt to serve social development work.
And Egypt and Somalia signed a number of memoranda of understanding to enhance joint cooperation between the two countries in the fields of media, culture, higher education and endowment. The signing ceremony was witnessed by the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and his Somali counterpart Hamza Abdi Bari. The MOUs aim to enhance joint cooperation in the scientific, educational, cultural and religious fields, as well as exchange research and studies related to the African issues of common interests.
Egypt and Somalia signed on Monday a number of MOUs in various fields of cooperation, including higher education, media and cultural and religious cooperation. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and his Somali counterpart Hamza Abdi Bari witnessed the signing of MOUs during an official visit by Abdi Bari and a high-level delegation to Cairo. Higher Education Minister Amer and his Somali counterpart signed MOU on the Executive Program for Higher Education Cooperation from 2023 to 2026. The MOU aims to boost cooperation between Egypt and Somali higher education institutions and universities and to exchange educational delegations. An Egyptian cabinet statement cited Ashur as saying during the signing ceremony. The minister said that according to the program, Egypt will offer 450 students. He added that under the MOU, the two countries will set up research teams. Minister of Culture Niveen Al-Kilani and her Somali counterpart signed an MOU on cultural cooperation. Al-Kilani said that as per the MOU, the two sides will hold exhibitions for fine arts and traditional crafts and festivals and will organize visits for artists in the fields of theater, music and folklore. Somali's JAMA also signed 2 MOUs to promote media cooperation with both the National Media Authority and the State Information Service. Another MOU was signed between Egypt's Ministry of Religious Endowments and Somali Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs. The MOU, which will be effective until 2026, primarily aims to enhance cooperation between the ministries in the two countries in the cultural and religious spheres.
Malawi's worst cholera outbreak in 2 decades has left up to 704 people dead after the disease spread to all districts of the southern African country, with the authorities having suspended primary and secondary schools opening in 2 major cities following the outbreak. The landlocked nation, prone to tropical storms and cyclones, has been battling resurgence of the waterborne diarrheal disease since March 2022. The rainy season, which began in November, worsened the situation, while the floods have led to the displacement of people who often lack access to safe water and proper sanitation.
Malawi's worst cholera outbreak in 2 decades has left 643 people dead after the disease spread to all districts of the southeastern African country. The landlocked nation, prone to tropical storms and cyclones, has been battling a resurgence of the waterborne diarrheal disease since March. The rainy season, which began in November, worsened the situation. Floods have led to the displacement of people who often lack access to safe water and sanitation. With the case fatality rate climbing to 30.4%, government has delayed the opening of schools for the year in both political capital and the nation's center of finance and commerce. An outbreak that started in April 2001 killed 968 people in the country. An increase in case numbers in several countries has depleted cholera's vaccine stockpiles. In October, the WHO and its partners decided to limit all reactive oral cholera vaccine campaigns to a single dose. Malawi's health minister said in a statement that the country's outbreak, which started in the southern region, has been controlled in 4 of its 29 districts. However, the country's northeast, now the epicenter, with 21 to 30-year-olds the most affected, according to the WHO. The minister said that cholera prevention protocols have been implemented in schools.
نحن لدينا مصير مشترك.
مصر تسلمت الرئاسة الدورية للاتحاد الإفريقي لعام 2019 وتتطلع كعادتها دوما للتعبير عن شواغل الشعوب الإفريقية الشقيقة الرامية لتحقيق الاستقرار والتقدم ودفع عجلة التنمية قدما. إذا كنتم ترغبون في تغيير وجه القارة الأفريقية، فالاتحاد الإفريقي كقيادة تستطيع أن تعمل وتدرس بشكل مركزي لمشروع عملاق لبناء بنية أساسية على مستوى القارة. أنا أتصور أن الأمن والاستقرار استثمار. إذا لم تستقر هذه القارة والأمن فيها معدلاته عالية، هذا الأمر سينعكس بالسلب علينا كلنا.
President Abdel Fattah Sisi participated on Monday at the National Alliance for Civil Development Work Conference. To shed more light on that, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Ambassador Bayoumi, President Sisi participated on Monday in the first conference of the National Alliance for Civil Development Work. Can you shed more light about the importance of this conference?
It is very important to shed light on the Egyptian position towards the civil society. And we appreciate very much, very much what the civil society is doing. In a developed society like in Egypt, we do not ask the government to do all the jobs. Everyone in his small community is responsible to do something to favor this community, to help the needy classes, to help educating his children, his neighbors, to help the school. I remember since I was a young child in the primary school that our fathers were coming, they came to the school to see how it's going, to help the poor classes in order to cover their spending invoices. And I really proud to tell you that my father was engaged in many activities of this civil society in many directions, whether education, healthcare, to help the needy classes, and so on.
Yeah.
So now we are expanding. I am talking about my age. At that time, we were 18 million. Now we are 118 million.
Yes.
So the responsibility is much bigger, and we have to deal with it. Here there is a sort of sensitive issue that this reaches also what we call on the international level human rights, the right of meeting, the right of reacting, and so on. Okay, I was in a position to talk to our partners, whether from Europe or the United States, and I told them, we are ready to apply whatever rules we agree together.
Yes.
Do you accept in your country that a civil society organization starts its job without declaring this, without having the license for that, without telling the government authorities? Of course not. But when it comes to us, you have many remarks like that and talking. That's why I am really asking what human rights they mean. And I was so careful personally when we negotiated with the European Union to define what do we mean by human rights. Human rights, I think we are a rare country who insisted to define what do we mean by human rights.
Yes.
Human rights as it was declared in the International Declaration of Human Rights of the United Nations of 1946. Because now there are new waves of demands, they cover it under the title human rights, and we will never accept it. Freedom of sexual orientation,
yes,
stopping the penalty of death, not giving the man the right to marry more than once.
yes.
And I asked them, what is better? A man who has the weakness, then he is married for another lady, or your cases in Europe where a man has a wife and undeclared relations and undeclared and illegal children.
Yes.
I think that our culture is stable, but we have to, of course, to teach our young generation the ethics of our religion and the ethics of our culture.
Indeed.
That's why also we added in our relations with Europe and America that it is the human rights as it came and stipulated in the International Declaration of Human Rights, and bearing in mind the differences in the culture of every community. But all of us, we are of course of what the civil society is doing and the NGOs are doing.
Mr. Ambassador, how this conference can actually coordinate between the civil society organization in order to ensure the maximum benefit for the individuals in the society for the citizens here in Egypt?
This is an easy and difficult task at the same time. We need responsible people, especially on the government side, to be with an open mind, to talk without trying to boss us, to listen to the ideas of a layman like myself or any other citizen. Good listeners, that's what we need. Also, on our side, we have to see the point of view of the responsible government, because there are things they are worried about it. Security matters. This we should understand that sometimes the security matters are very important, and not all of us are aware of what security needs.
Yes.
So it's sort of cooperation between the government and the civil society.
Indeed. Mr. Ambassador, actually volunteering is a national responsibility. How far does the National Alliance for Civil Development work reflect this idea?
I am confident and optimistic whenever the dialogue is continuing. We have to stick to continue the dialogue. Confrontation is not the way or the word at all where we can build our life. And I think that continuous dialogue between the civil society and the government and the international and regional organization is very important. And we have to be a sort of accepting, to be a good listener. Maybe we can develop ourselves, maybe we can have some good ideas and to apply it and so on.
Yes,
so
indeed.
I follow carefully whatever meetings are taking place on the regional level and the international level. It's very useful, and I think Egypt is a very open-minded country to hear and to listen.
Yes, indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, always a pleasure to listen to your precious input, sir. Thank you so much for being our guest for today. And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. I'm Rabia. Many thanks for watching.